Wdaf-Tv, Virtual Channel 4, is a Fox-affiliated television station serving Kansas City, Missouri and Kansas City, Kansas, United States. The station is owned by the Tribune Broadcasting subsidiary of Tribune Media. Wdaf-Tv maintains studio and transmitter facilities located on Summit Street in the Signal Hill section of Kansas City, Missouri. On cable, Wdaf-Tv is available on Time Warner Cable and Sirius Channel 6, and at an AMP-TU Verse Channel 4. Wdaf-Tv also serves as an alternate Fox affiliate for the adjacent St. Joseph market, as the station's transmitter produces a city-grade signal that reaches St. Joseph proper. The market is primarily served by KNPN-LD, which displaced Wdaf-Tv as the default Fox affiliate on area cable and satellite providers when it signed on the air on June 2, 2012, whose home market is alternately served by Kansas City-based ABC affiliate KNBC-TV. Both of those stations are carried on pay television providers. In that market history, as an NBC affiliate, the station first signed on the air on October 16, 1949. It was the second television station to sign on in Missouri and the first to sign on in the Kansas City market. Wdaf-Tv was founded by the Kansas City Star, which was also the founding owner of radio station WDAF. Wdaf-Tv is among a handful of U.S. broadcast stations that is an exception to a rule imposed by the Federal Communications Commission, which assigns call signs prefixed with a K to television and radio stations with cities of license located west of the Mississippi River and broadcast call signs prefixed with a W to stations located east of the river. The anomaly in the case of the WDAF television and radio stations is due to the fact that Kansas City was originally located east of the original KW border distinction defined by the FCC at the time that the WDAF call letters were assigned to both stations. Channel 4 originally operated as a primary affiliate of NBC, owing to WDAF Radio's long-time relationship with the television network's direct predecessor, the NBC Red Network, which it had been affiliated with since 1925 as the network's westernmost affiliate, but also maintained secondary affiliations with CBS, ABC and the Dumont Television Network. Randall Jesse served as Wdaf-Tv's first news anchor. Other notable staffers in its early years included the station's first weathercaster, Shelby Stork, and future Hollywood character actor Owen Bush, who served as an on-staff announcer during the early 1950s. For several years, Wdaf-Tv's daily sign-on and sign-off was accompanied by a recording of Gordon McCrae's rendition of The Lord's Prayer. The station would lose affiliations with three of the networks from which it cherry-picked programs in the late summer of 1953, when WDAF gained its first commercial television competitors in the Kansas City market. Programming from CBS and Dumont moved to WHB-TV and KNBC-TV, which shared the two networks when both stations signed on under a time-sharing arrangement on August 2 of that year. Channel 4 shared the ABC affiliation with WHB-KNBC until September 27, when KCMO-TV signed on as the network's original full-time Kansas City affiliate. This left Channel 4 exclusively affiliated with NBC. Also in 1953, The United States government initiated an antitrust investigation against the Star over its ownership of WDAF Radio and Wdaf-Tv. The investigation was reportedly opened at the behest of President Harry S. Truman, who had been in a long-standing feud with the newspaper over its opposition to the Missouri Natives presidency. The investigation culminated in the Star being indicted on charges that it engaged in monopolistic practices in its sale of advertising for the newspaper and its television and radio stations. When the case was taken to court in 1955, just prior to the close of the Truman administration, a federal jury found the Star guilty at the end of the one-month restraint of trade trial. After attempts to appeal the ruling failed, the Star signed a consent decree in 1957 that required it to stop combining advertising and subscription rates and sell off WDAF television and radio. On May 18, 1958, the WDAF stations were sold to National Missouri Broadcasters, the broadcasting division of National Theaters. On July 13, 1960, National Missouri merged with Buffalo, New York-based Transcontinent Broadcasting. Under Transcontinent ownership, the two stations were joined by an additional sister radio station, WDAF-FM. Transcontinent merged with Cincinnati, Ohio-based Taft Broadcasting on February 19, 1964. The transaction was finalized on April 1, 1964. During its first 4 decades with NBC, WDAF-TV preempted moderate amounts of the network's programming, usually consisting of some daytime shows and an occasional primetime program. Among the notable programs that were preempted by Channel 4 include Days of Our Lives, Dragnet and I Dream of Jeannie. Although NBC had long been less tolerant of preemptions of its programming than the other broadcast networks, it usually did not raise objections to those made by WDAF-TV. Between 1969 and 1971, most of the NBC shows that the station chose to preempt aired instead on independent station KCIT-TV. On July 13, 1984, WDAF-TV became one of the first 20 NBC stations to receive the network's programs via satellite transmission. In 1986, it also became the first television station in Kansas City to broadcast in stereo. On October 12, 1987, Taft Broadcasting was restructured into Great American Communications following the completion of a hostile takeover of the group by Taft investors. By that year, WDAF-TV had overtaken KMBC as the dominant station in Kansas City, as was the trend during this period at many NBC-affiliated stations. In December 1993, Great American Communications underwent another financial restructuring following the company's filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Great American then decided to put most of its television stations up for sale. As a Fox station on May 5, 1994, Great American Communications agreed to sell WDAF-TV and 3 other television stations, CBS affiliate KSAZ-TV in Phoenix, and ABC affiliates WBRC in Birmingham and WGHP in High Point, North Carolina, to New World Communications for $350 million in cash and $10 million in share warrants. Great American Communications, meanwhile, retained ownership of WDAF Radio and sister station KYYS until the renamed Citycasters merged with Jagger on February 13, 1996 in a $770 million deal. On May 23, 1994, as part of an overall deal in which network parent News Corporation also purchased a 20% equity interest in the group, New World signed a long-term affiliation agreement with Fox to switch 13 television stations, 5 that New World had already owned and 8 that the company was in the process of acquiring through separate deals with Great American and Argyle Television Holdings, including WDAF to the network. The stations involved in the agreement, all of which were affiliated with one of the 3 major broadcast networks, would become Fox affiliates, once individual affiliation contracts with each of the station's existing network partners expired. The deal was motivated by the National Football League's awarding of the rights to the National Football Conference television package to Fox on December 18, 1993, in which the conference rights moved to the network effective with the 1994 NFL season ending a 38-year relationship with CBS. At the time the agreement was signed, the affiliation contracts of Wdaf-Tv and CBS affiliate WJW in Cleveland were up for renewal as they were set to expire on September 11, 1994. As a result of Channel 4's pending switch to Fox, the short span until the end of its contract with WDAF gave NBC only 5 months to find another station to replace WDAF-TV as its Kansas City affiliate, resulting in the network entering into negotiations with other area stations in the immediate weeks after the Fox New World deal was announced. NBC first entered into discussions with KCTV for a contract. This led CBS to approach that station's owner, the Meredith Corporation, on a proposal to switch 2 other Meredith-owned stations, NBC affiliate WNEM-TV in Bay City, Michigan, and independent station KPHO in Phoenix, to that network as a condition of keeping the CBS affiliation on KCTV. KMBC-TV was automatically eliminated as an option as it was in the middle of a long-term affiliation agreement between ABC and that station's owner, Hearst Broadcasting. This left the only viable option for NBC to reach an affiliation with being existing Fox station KSHB-TV, which through its owner, Scripps Howard Broadcasting, agreed to affiliate with the network on August 1, 1994, on the condition that it carry as much local news programming as WDAF had aired as an NBC affiliate. New World finalized its purchase of WDAF-TV and KSAZ on September 9, 1994. WDAF-TV switched to Fox 3 days later on September 12, ending its affiliation with NBC after 45 years. The move of the NBC affiliation from WDAF to KSHB on that date consequently ended Channel 4's status as the unofficial home station of the Kansas City Chiefs. WDAF-TV had been airing most of the Chiefs games since 1965, when NBC assumed rights to the American Football League. Of the former New World stations that switched to Fox, WDAF-TV is one of 2 affiliates that is located in an AFC market, and the only one involved in the deal that was an NBC affiliate prior to switching networks. The other New World stations that joined Fox were previously affiliated with either CBS or ABC. As with most of the other New World-owned stations affected by the affiliation agreement with Fox, WDAF-TV retained its existing branding, in its instance, News Channel 4, which the station adopted as a universal brand in April 1992 as an NBC affiliate. Upon the affiliation switch, branding references to Fox, both visually and verbally, were limited in most on-air imaging, with the exception of on-air IDs that aired until January 1997. In addition to expanding its local news programming, the station added additional syndicated talk shows as well as some reality series to round out its schedule. On July 17, 1996, News Corporation announced that it would acquire New World in an all-stock transaction worth $2.48 billion, with the latter company's 10 Fox affiliates being folded into the former's Fox television station subsidiary, making them all owned and operated stations of the network. The purchase was finalized on January 22, 1997, making Wdaf-Tv the first owned and operated station of a major network in the Kansas City market since Dumont briefly operated KCTY from December 1953 until it shut down that station in February 1954. On January 26, coinciding with Fox's telecast of Super Bowl 31, Wdaf-Tv subsequently changed its branding from News Channel 4 to Fox 4 under the network's branding conventions. On December 22, 2007, Fox sold Wdaf-Tv and 8 other owned and operated stations, WJW, WBRC, WGHP, KTVI in St. Louis, WITI in Milwaukee, WHBQ-TV in Memphis, KDVR in Denver and KSDU in Salt Lake City, to local TV for $1.1 billion. The sale was finalized on July 14, 2008. On July 1, 2013, the Tribune Company acquired the local TV stations for $2.75 billion. The sale was completed on December 27. Digital television. On February 13, 2011, through an agreement between network owner Tribune Broadcasting and then WDAF owner Local TV resulting from the company's existing management agreement, the station launched digital subchannel on Virtual Channel 4.2, which served as a charter affiliate of the Antenna TV Classic television network. On June 22, 2015, WDAF launched a tertiary subchannel on Virtual Channel 4.3 to serve as an affiliate of this TV. The network had been absent from the Kansas City market for 5 months prior to WDAF's assumption of the affiliation, as KCWE ended its 5-year relationship with this TV on January 2, in order to affiliate its second digital subchannel with competing film-focused multicast network movies. Analog to digital conversion. On September 23, 2005, WDAF-TV's digital signal was upgraded to full-power high definition, as its HD signal strength was increased from 1.2 kilowatts to 1,000 kilowatts. WDAF-TV shut down its analog signal over VHF Channel 4 on June 12, 2009, the official date in which full-power television stations in the United States transitioned from analog to digital broadcasts under federal mandate. The station's digital signal remained on its pre-transition UHF Channel 34. Through the use of PSIP, digital television receivers display the station's virtual channel as its former VHF analog Channel 4 programming. Syndicated programs broadcast by WDAF-TV as of September 2015 include Crime Watch Daily, Celebrity Name Game, Family Feud, Judge Judy and Wheel of Fortune. WDAF-TV currently carries the majority of the Fox network schedule. However, it delays the network's Saturday late-night block by a half hour in order to air its 10 o'clock p.m. newscast. In addition, since the program's move from Fox Sports 1 to Fox in September 2015, WDAF is one of several Fox affiliates that has declined carriage of the Sunday pre-game show Fox NFL Kickoff during the NFL regular season. which airs the program in its network-recommended time slot. Channel 4 has only aired Fox's prime-time, late-night, news and sports programming since it joined the network in September 1994, with the only content it has aired involving Fox's children's programming having been of full preview specials and network promotions for those blocks that aired within the network's prime-time lineup for the final 12 years that Fox carried programming aimed at the demographic. As with most of its sister stations under its former New World ownership, Wdaf-Tv has always declined carriage of Fox's children's programming. It opted not to run the Fox Kids weekday and Saturday blocks when it affiliated with the network, airing children's programs acquired via syndication on Saturday mornings instead. Fox Kids aired locally on KSMO-TV from 1994 to 1998, KCWE from 1998 to 1999, and finally, along with its successor blocks Fox Box and 4Kids TV, on KMCI from 1999 to 2008. Fox ended its network's Apply Children's programming on December 28, 2008, replacing it thereafter with the paid programming block Weekend Marketplace, which is not carried by any Kansas City area station. On September 13, 2014, WDAF began carrying Exploration Station, a live-action educational program block distributed by Steve Rodfeld Productions that is syndicated primarily to Fox stations on Saturday mornings through an agreement involving Tribune's Fox-affiliated stations. Sports programming. As an NBC affiliate, Wdaf-Tv served as the over-the-air flagship station of the Kansas City Royals from 1979 to 1992. This relationship continued long after many Big Three affiliated stations discontinued regular coverage of local sporting events. Since Fox obtained the partial over-the-air network television rights to Major League Baseball in 1996, WDAF has carried certain Royals games that have been regionally televised by the network during the league's regular season and post-season. Notable Royals telecasts that the station has aired during its tenure with Fox have included the team's World Series appearances in 2014 and 2015, the latter of which saw the franchise win its first national championship title since 1985. The station also broadcast Kansas City Chiefs preseason games from 1997 to 1999, with WDAF's acquisition of preseason rights. The on-air production presentation of the locally exclusive telecasts was upgraded to network quality standards by way of its then ownership under Fox. In addition, since Fox obtained the broadcast rights to the NFL in 1994, WDAF has carried select Chiefs games that the network airs on a regional basis, primarily home contests against NFC opponents, other than those from 2014 onward that have been subject to cross-flexing, allowing Fox to acquire the rights for its regional broadcasts, and KSHB for non-preseason games that NBC selects to air as part of its Sunday Night Football package. News operation. WDAF-TV presently broadcasts 59.5 hours of locally produced newscasts each week. In regards to the number of hours devoted to news programming, it is the highest local newscast output among the Kansas City market's commercial television stations. WDAF-TV's Sunday 5 o'clock p.m. newscast is subject to preemption due to network sports coverage, as is standard with Fox stations that carry early evening newscasts on weekends. The station operates a Hummer called Storm Fox that is used to cover severe weather events. Dating back to its NBC affiliation, Channel 4 has long battled KMBC-TV for the most watched newscast in the Kansas City market. During the late 1970s and 1980s, Wdaf-TV's newscasts placed second behind KMBC. However, coinciding with the rise of NBC's ratings fortunes during that period, it ended the latter decade in first place, overtaking KCTV. In 1982, Wdaf-TV became the first television station in Kansas City to use a helicopter for news gathering. The helicopter was used to provide aerial coverage of breaking news and severe weather events, as well as for traffic reports, until station management grounded the helicopter on August 31, 2009. Also in 1982, WDAF began Thursday's Child, a weekly segment on its 10 o'clock p.m. newscast highlighting children seeking adoptive families, in conjunction with the Love Fund for Children, a charity founded through a $1,200 endowment from several WDAF-TV employees. When WDAF-TV adopted the News Channel 4 brand in April 1992, the station also implemented the 24-hour news source concept, involving the production of 30-second news updates that aired at or near the top of each hour during local commercial break inserts, even during primetime network and overnight programming, as well as 5-second end-of-break weather updates. In addition to the station's long-form newscasts in regularly scheduled time slots, after WDAF became a Fox station in September 1994, the station shifted its programming focus heavily towards local news, increasing its output from about 30 hours a week to nearly 50 hours. The station retained all of the newscasts that existed during its final years as an NBC affiliate. However, to compensate for the absence of daily national newscasts and a third hour of primetime network programming on Fox's schedule, WDAF expanded its weekday morning newscast from 1 to 3 hours, and bridged the separate 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock p.m. newscasts on Monday through Friday nights to form a 90-minute early evening news block. As Fox does not provide any primetime programming during that hour, Channel 4 also launched an hour-long primetime newscast at 9 o'clock p.m., serving as a lead-in into the existing 10 o'clock p.m. newscast. The station retained the 24-hour news source format after the affiliation switch, and continued to offer news updates on an hourly basis during commercial breaks until it discontinued the concept in May 1999. Not long after WDAF-TV switched to Fox, KMBC made a short resurgence to overtake it for first place among the market's local television newscasts, which further intensified the ratings rivalry between the two stations. WDAF-TV's newscasts have rotated between first and second place with either KMBC or KCTV in various time slots since the late 1990s, with the station's strongest ratings occurring in the morning and at 9 o'clock p.m., where WDAF regularly finishes at number 1. In February 1996, WDAF-TV reformatted its 5:30 p.m. newscast as Your World Tonight, a program focusing primarily on national and international news headlines that was modeled similarly to the national news programs on ABC, CBS and NBC. The program, as was the case with WDAF's newscasts as a whole since the September 1994 switch to Fox, initially relied mainly on external video feeds from CNN NewsSource and, beginning that August with the associated launch of Fox News Channel, added content sourced from Fox's in-house affiliate video service Fox News Edge. The concept was not successful, and the 5:30 p.m. broadcast was retooled as a traditional local newscast on January 6, 1997. In 2003, Wdaf-Tv launched an investigative reporting unit, the Fox 4 Problem Solvers, which report on investigations centering on businesses that have ripped off local consumers and uncovers various scams targeting consumers. In April 2007, fellow Fox affiliate KTMJC in Topeka, Kansas began simulcasting the 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock a.m. block of Wdaf-TV's weekday morning newscast and its nightly 9 o'clock p.m. newscast. The simulcasts were dropped in November 2008, at which time, as a result of KTMJ's purchase by New Vision Television, they were replaced with locally based newscasts produced by NBC-affiliated sister station KSNT. Wdaf-TV became the fourth television station in the Kansas City market to begin broadcasting its local newscasts in high definition on October 12, 2010. On March 24, 2011, the station expanded its weekday morning newscast to 5 hours with the addition of an hour at 9 o'clock a.m. Then on April 11, it debuted a 10:30 p.m. newscast on Sunday through Friday nights, becoming the first Fox station to expand its 10 o'clock p.m. newscast to 1 hour. On October 3, 2011, Wdaf-TV expanded its weekday morning newscast to 5.5 hours, with a half-hour added at 4:30 a.m. On-air staff notable former on-air staff Owen Bush, station announcer Jack Cafferty, news and weather anchor Harris Faulkner, evening anchor Stacey Smith, evening anchor Shelby Stork, weather anchor Bob Wells, announcer and weekend weatherman.